everybody to Cinema Royale. I'm Travis Hobson of PunchdrunkCritics.com, and I'm still playing a little bit of catch up, y'all. We got back from Comic Con and all that kind of stuff, and I'm still playing catch up on movies that I've been wanting to see. And last week, it was like they decided we are going to have a week for Travis. So you gave me my favorite action movie franchise, which is Predator. Everybody knows that. And he also gave me my favorite genre, which is the assassin genre with the Bullet Train. So we're going to talk about both of those today. We're going to talk about Prey and we're going to talk about Bullet Train. And to do that, I brought on my man, Wilson Morales, who joined me at Comic Con just a few weeks ago. What's up, Wilson?
Hey, how's it going?
Wilson Morales at blackfilmandtv.com. What's up, man? We're going to talk about two movies, man. I know you got to see both of these. Obviously, you wouldn't be here. But let's start with Prey. First of all, what's your feelings about the Predator franchise as a whole? As you probably just heard me say, it's my favorite. I love it. I like all the movies, with the exception of the Aliens ones. I don't really give a shit about those. But the other ones, the other five, I'm down for all of them. What's your thoughts on the franchise?
I think over time, because they kept remaking them and rebooting them, they never really stood on its own. It's almost like the X-Men films that although you have the same actors, the plot line just never makes sense. With the Predator films, the first one, obviously Arnold, classic. The second, Danny Glover, I was like, yeah, they were just trying to make money off of it. I think I liked the one with Sanaa Lathan when it was Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
And then, I kind of forgot the one with Adrian Brody because no one ever talks about it.
Yeah, you and I were talking about it, and you didn't remember when I brought up Predators.
Yeah, it's like, that's right, Adrian Brody. It's like you would think an Oscar winner doing this type of movie, nobody remembers it. And now you have Prey, which, when you first mentioned it, I was like, oh, that's right, that is part of the Predator franchise. But, it's a decent attempt. I have to, it's layered back. It's not because you don't have any big names. There's not a lot of expectations. So in a way, you can appreciate it for what it is. They didn't necessarily need it to make a part of the Predator. I think it could have been a standalone movie on its own, which probably wouldn't have gotten the same fanfare had you not mentioned the Predator franchise. On its own, it'd be a decent horror film, but with no big names, it doesn't go far. With the Predator franchise attached to it, people are having interest.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think that's one of the things that actually works in its favor is that it could be a standalone movie. I feel like the Predator franchise, and you and I have discussed this a little bit, I feel like the franchise went wrong because it seemed like every time they would do a new Predator movie, they would give the human more weapons, more allies, bigger guns, all this kind of shit to even the playing field with the Predator, which is the best part of the original Predator, which I think is a stone cold classic, is after all the guns and allies are gone, and it's just Schwarzenegger with using nature to defeat this beast who's technologically advanced in every kind of way. And man versus this super Predator. That's the best aspect of that movie. And I think the best part of Prey is that it's the entire movie centered around that premise because it's set in the 1700s. We had this female warrior played by Amber Midthunder, who I think is great. And she's got rudimentary weapons to defeat this advanced creature. To me, that's the essence of what Predators should be. Given the thing about Predators, I like Predators, but the thing that doesn't work about Predators is that you got all these soldiers with these giant guns.
When you think about it from a technical standpoint, yes, it's about a creature with advanced weaponry, and we humans are not at that level yet, which is why we end up being dead and you can't fight it.
I want to be on par with the Predator. I don't want that movie.
Take the weapons away, mano a mano. Let's see how you can do. You still got height over me, but I'm gonna walk up to you like I'm Tyson. That's how basically Arnold did it. And then we look at the others before. I forgot the one that Sterling K. Brown just did a few years ago. And I was like, they don't measure up. I think when you try to unless they come in after a successful movie, when I mean successful, I mean when these movies make box office numbers, those are the ones you remember. So when they do sequels to movies that didn't get that far, you don't remember it, especially when they're doing them years apart. It's like you're not waiting for it. It's like you're saying to yourself, who asked for this?
Yeah.
The thing about a reboot or a remake, and these days, and you can kind of apply this to TV shows or anything else, is does it work for today's audience? We are far advanced from what we've seen over the years. There's now a gazillion movies. They take in the Alien franchise to another level. Is it edgy enough? Is it bloody enough? Or do you want me to sit there and watch a story fold out and see how this plays out? It's almost like, you go back to the James Bond films, and after after the one with Halle Berry, where they were like, "Oh, this is as far as we can make James Bond go," walking on water, whatever. They were like, "Okay, we have to reboot this.
Yeah.
We just got to find another way that's gonna bring in the audience and find some sort of believability to this movie."
Yeah. And I think it was wise on their part. Like you said, stripping down the story was a big part of its success. Hiring Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane, knows how to make a competent, suspenseful thriller. This movie is suspenseful at all. At times when you don't expect it to be. Like, we expect like the big moments, like the first time you see the Predator, this awesome fight he's having with this big ass bear, which is just an amazing scene. But it's suspenseful at times when you don't expect it to be, like when Amber Midthunder's character kind of gets trapped in quicksand, and it almost looks like she's not going to make it out. Like, that's strangely suspenseful too, even though we've seen that scenario in movies plenty of
Well,
times.
yeah, it's sort of like in the back of
Like
your head, that she's
scene.
in the back of her head, she's the lead. They're not gonna kill her off like this,
Yeah,
But that moment or so, you're lost in the movie and like, oh, is she gonna make it out?
yeah, it still works really well. Like you said, it's really great. And the movie does all that stuff really well. And I think just having having it be a Native American and a woman at this time is the right way to go, to do something a little bit different, to go the polar opposite of of what the typical thing is for this franchise.
Yeah, they gotta flip it. If it was another guy, then this would be like, well, they just did this with the guy. They just did this with the
We did
guys.
a whole movie with a bunch of guys.
A bunch of guys. Let's flip it. We saw. That's why people like the Sanaa Lathan version.
Yeah, they do. I still find that inexplicable, because I think those movies are terrible. But whatever.
But wait, the movie's doing well on Hulu, from what I understand. Because hey, at the end of the day, people got Hulu. They want to see that sort of original film that's there that they don't have to go to the theaters for.
Prey is the most watched original for Hulu ever. That includes movies and TV, and that is a big accomplishment for a movie that I don't think a lot of people were thinking about all that much.
Well, they don't have a lot to. They don't have a lot for it to compare to. Like
talking about, they got the binge. They got the binge, and what else? But this includes TV too. So we're talking about shows like
that. So, like with the TV shows, you've got Dope Sick and a few others, but nothing to the point where it's like, okay, this is a movie that attracts an international audience. And so they can look at that. You don't necessarily, you can watch this without dialogue and get where it's going.
I think this is purely about word of mouth. Because I think if this movie had come out in theaters, it would have. Like I said, I liked The Predator just fine, but for the most part, that movie was not well received. It would have the stink of a few not well received Predator movies on it if it came out into a theater. But being released on Hulu, people were willing to give it a shot, and then great word of mouth. Like, I've heard more people asking me about Prey over the last week than just about anything else. People keep talking about it, and people keep wanting to watch it. And I've watched it a couple times myself. I mean, I think it's a really great film. So I'm just happy to see Predator back, like, in a good way. I'm happy to see people talking about Predator.
Well, the sad thing about it is that, like, while Hulu's complaining that it's the number one film that they've seen, unless they go all out with the filmmakers and put this out on DVD and Blu-ray, these movies don't get far. It's no different than any of these movies that do well on Netflix, and it doesn't get talked about it unless you have Netflix. You go outside of the country, not many people have it.
This is one of those films that I think they would try to put out on Blu-ray, because
hopefully
it might actually sell on Blu-ray.
Yeah, like I said, put it out so that everybody, so that people can see it. I just got a Blu-ray of a classic movie, and I'm like, yeah.
They really
Although,
need to put out
huh?
a whole. It is. I think we're overdue for a Predator set, like a
Yes,
Predator collector set of like all seven.
and people will buy it. You have fans of the
I would
genre
buy
that will
it.
pick it up.
I would buy it. I don't even have a Blu-ray player anymore, but I would buy it. I mean, I put all seven movies together, put some special features in there, some Shane Black commentary or something.
Mhm.
We'll do whatever. But I think we're long overdue for that. Prey seems like a good time to do that. All right, so there's our talk about Prey, a movie that I cannot recommend highly enough. Let's move on to another film that I have seen a couple of times already now, and that is Bullet Train. Like I said, this is my favorite genre. I love the hitman assassin genre. It's my favorite. It's been my favorite since I was a kid, and I loved Luc Besson movies as a kid. And I still love Luc Besson movies, even though they have not changed in 30 years. Which is my big beef with like The Gray Man from a couple weeks ago, which is also in this genre, but it does nothing to change anything. The only thing special about that is the cast. But Bullet Train, it's like all my favorite actors. You got Brad Pitt, Zazie Beetz, Hiroyuki Sanada, who I think is in my top five favorite actors. I love him so much. Andrew Koji, Brian Tyree Henry, Aaron Taylor Johnson, all these actors that I love, and based on a Japanese novel that I love as well. It's all set in Tokyo. I love any movie set in Japan. It's like everything that I like was put in this movie for me. It's silly, it's over the top. It almost feels.
It reminded me of Smoking Aces.
I was gonna say Smoking Aces too.
You know,
Yeah.
you know. And granted, they've all blown up since that movie, and it's like you put that up against that and the Bullet Train. Which one do you take?
Bullet
You
Train.
know,
Bullet Train all day.
I don't know, man.
Bullet
I
Train all day.
don't
See,
know.
I
I
didn't
think I
like
would take.
Smoking Aces back in the day, and I still don't like it. But
I like Smoking Aces. You know, just
everybody I know does. All my friends love Smoking Aces. I'm like the outlier. I never could get into that movie for whatever reason. But
you
I
know,
love Bullet Train.
here, Brad Pitt is having fun. And obviously we don't want to mention the cameos that's in Bullet Train. You're like,
No,
oh, they got
don't
cameos in there
me.
that are welcoming, I would say. Look at Joey King. Joey King was all of a sudden like, nah, she
Joey
wants these
King.
adult roles. Don't give me the kitty bopper stuff. I've already done that.
No, and
Come
she's
a
kicking
long
ass
way
too.
from White
She
House Down.
did The Princess like a few weeks ago for Hulu, which was a big action movie for her. That's a fun one too. Then this one as well. She's killing it literally in her roles lately. I like her in this as well.
Yeah, so like so Brad Pitt looked like he was having fun, tongue in cheek type of movie. They were just having a blast.
It's
Especially
fun to see
I
Brad
could
Pitt in
see.
an action movie playing a character who's like reformed, like quote unquote reformed. He's like self help reformed,
Mhm.
like the guy who like just got out of like rehab, and he's like deep into like the self help books, and he's like reciting all the proverbs and all the bullshit, and he's like he's totally into it, and he's like usually that guy will end up failing because it's all bullshit, but.
You But you and I could see if they did a sequel or just a spinoff with Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson because they were a blast.
They were a lot of fun in
Yeah,
this.
they were a blast.
It's,
So
it's,
you could do a spinoff on all of these characters. Even Bunny. To
oh,
see
this is
where
one
it
of those things
goes.
where like a spin-off comic book of each character. Like I'm surprised there isn't one.
Maybe
Actually,
you could do a short on each one. You know,
I'd like to see a short of what they were all doing right before they got on the bullet train.
if this movie makes enough money and everything, because hey, let's do a little something. For the DVD for the Blu-ray collection.
You know who's really great in this too is Bad Bunny, who plays the wolf. Bad Bunny seems to not be able to do anything wrong. He went to the WWE and is one of the most amazing celebrities I've ever seen wrestle. He's just fantastic at it. He's got a natural talent for it. Like not just like the wrestling part, but like the ring psychology. Like Bad Bunny can apparently do no wrong because he's really good in this. I wish his part was longer, but he's in the movie throughout,
Hey,
but not the way.
all you want is like without
This
revealing
guy's
what their roles are when they come in and out of the movie. They're in it. They're having fun. They have more than one appearance. And that's it. Just wait for the ride and wait till they pop up again.
Yeah, yeah. This one was really great. It's crazily edited. Some of the flashbacks don't jibe all that well with it, like taking in the whole. But overall, man, I had a blast with Bullet Train. And it makes me want to see like I want to see more movies like this. I think the one thing that I've liked over the last year, where there have been a lot of hitman slash assassin movies over the last year, and like this one, in a lot of ways, tonally is like Gunpowder Milkshake from last year, which is another movie that I really enjoyed because it's dressing up my favorite genre. And by comparison to like The Protege, which is also that genre, but is very standard of what the genre has always been.
Those movies are like, they're okay. The funny thing is, I just saw that they're going to do a remake of John Woo's The Killer. Now, I would go back and watch The Killer over and over again, the original.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You talk about assassin movies, that is one of the best.
Yeah. The Chow Yun Fat one is untouchable. That they're getting John Woo to do that one as well, to do the remake is interesting because I would like to see what he does with it this time. But I also don't see the point. I don't really see the point.
Everything old is new again.
I'd rather just do. I mean, especially if you're going to get John Woo to do it, just do a different movie. Just do a different movie. No, you got to do that one again. Yeah. But it's probably the only way John Woo can make his way back into America. He left and was doing movies in his home country, in Hong Kong again. But I guess this is his way back, is doing stuff like this. I'd rather see him make another Red Cliff movie than to do this.
Nah, that's not you. It's like you made your bones with action films. You tried the Red Cliff. There's a bunch of those Asian Red Cliffs. Seriously, they are. There's a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
Like, nah, that's not going to carry in the States.
Red Cliff is amazing, though. I mean,
yeah, but people want to see, people want to see you do the action. It's like you bring that flair here, I'll check it out.
Oh man, so yeah, two really good ones over the last week. Bullet Train and Prey. If you're an action fan, you should be pretty happy right about now. Go check out both of those. Wilson, before we get out of here, man, what have you got going on in Black Film and TV that you want to talk about?
Just a bunch of stuff. We just had the latest announcements for the New York Film Festival, for the Toronto Film Festival. As we're winding down the month of August, it's rare, that you're going to get a bunch of movies that's going to cross the $100 million mark. Maybe Bullet Train may be the last one. Nope, just crossed the $100 million mark. Making it Jordan Peele's third feature to go 100 straight. I think that's rare for a director to have his first three films go make a. The budget on this one, nope, was $68 million compared to the $20 million or less for his two previous films. So we've got more time to see, and it hasn't been released internationally yet. So more than likely, he will he will do well with this.
Yeah, I think so. And he'll probably go 4 for 4, 5 for 5 because he's one of those filmmakers now that has established himself as a must-see filmmaker until he fucks it up with something really terrible. he's going to be one of those guys that you go see.
But no one can hit a home run all the time. So like, let him, let's be patient.
He's
What it
going to hit
wants.
a he's going to hit a ground rule double at some point, and then people will be like, "Do I really want to go see this movie after that?" I don't know, but
Yeah.
but for now, he's hitting home runs, and that's good for him. I'll be curious to see if they maybe re-release that film towards the end of the year, just like a subtle reminder, like don't forget Jordan Peele uh, around awards time, because I think Nope could be a contender for a few things.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. All right, man. Well, this is Wilson Morales of blackfilmandtv.com. Wilson, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it. I'm
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. I'm Travis Hobson of punchdrunkcritics.com. You can find me every day there. You can find me also here in DC on WETA Around Town and a bunch of other places as well. But thank you for tuning in to Cinema Royale. I will see you next time. Bye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.